This meeting is being recorded.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is a very special day. We are getting to hear from the 5 teams that were part of the culture change, more intensive side of the project. You know, this is a SAMP grant that your Wyoming State Survey Agency and your region of CMS approved. We call it Implementing Culture Change Throughout Wyoming, Affecting Resident-Directed Living. How do you like that? And team member retention. We actually thought of that even before COVID happened. Can you believe it? Oh boy. And my name is Carmen Bowman. It's been my joy to get to work with all of you. So let me just tell you a little bit about what these 5 homes signed up for. We have 3 years of this project, and these are our first year homes. We just can't thank you all enough for being willing to be the first year homes. And you're going to hear from each one of them. And when we say year, it just so happened the way it rolled with not starting the grant right away because of COVID. It turns out April to March. So we're at the end of year 1 right now this month. And what these teams signed up to do was to use the Artifacts of Culture Change tool to guide them in choosing at least 3 culture change practices. They agreed to do 3. It's pretty cool that all of them did more than 3. That tends to be common, everyone. Pretty special. You tend to find out other things you could do. Some things are, easier than others. And then just to show you something about this tool, we break it down into 5 parts. And so some of our teams actually ended up with 1 practice from each of the 5 sections. And then some of our newer teams, you'll hear from them, have decided to try to pick at least 1 practice from each of the following 5 areas: resident-directed life, being well-known, home environment and accommodation of needs and preferences, family and community, and team member engagement and leadership. And if you want a copy of that, let me know, or go to the Pioneer Network website. And we are just going to pass it off right away to Pam Sprecher. She's the community life coordinator at Star Valley in Afton. And let me know when you want the next slide, I guess, Pam. I'll try to go with you here.
All right, sounds good. Hi, we are from beautiful Star Valley, Wyoming, one of the most amazing places in Wyoming. We have a lovely 5-star home here, and we are so excited to have been part of this culture change movement. And we have really learned a lot this year. We started off with 3 main artifacts that we wanted to complete, but as time progressed, we added quite a few more, but we did try to include all of the main categories. Starting off here with resident-directed life, we realized that having a welcoming committee was something that was easily begun with. And so now every resident is greeted by not only our team members, but also one of the neighbors. They're given a welcoming gift, an offer of a tour around our home, and a chance to visit and make a new friend. So that was one of the first things we did. Okay, and then our major project that we wanted to start was to introduce buffet dining here. Now this is kind of morphed slightly into restaurant style. And so what we started to do is every resident is given a menu every day where they can choose breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they can choose from several entrees and side dishes and vegetables. And then if nothing suits their fancy, they can ask for soup or peanut butter sandwich or salad or anything that they'd like. And we try to always honor those requests if we have the stuff. This picture here, we redecorated our dining room in a farmhouse theme. And this room is available for families and residents to enjoy throughout the day. And so you can see several slides there. There's one where we have the little thing, and then we put new cabinetry in. And also then the other wall that we have has like a quilt. And there where it says the gathering place where friends become family. I know our social worker mentioned yesterday how many of our residents say, yes, we came in here as strangers, but we are friends now and we are family. And that was pretty special, I thought. Okay, one of the other things that we had never even really thought of doing was providing the fruit and snacks for the residents to be able to enjoy throughout the day. And so we thought this was easy to do. And so we just put out a basket of fruit and snacks, and we replenish it throughout the day. And the neighbors know that they can come get fruit and snacks anytime they want to. We do have plans to have a carafe of coffee and a little cooler with some drinks available as well that we're going to add to this. Okay, then one of our artifacts that we started off with celebrating residents' individual birthdays. I remember at one point in time, a previous activity coordinator, she just had one once a month. I said, this isn't happening, but I never really thought about asking the residents how they wanted to celebrate it. You got a flower, you got candy, you got boom, and everything was the same. And so we started to ask them, what's your favorite thing? How would you like to celebrate it? I know as you look at that picture, this young lady there, she wanted a chocolate cake with chocolate ice cream. And if you'll notice, there's some pureed food there beside. That actually is her choice because she has this texture thing going. And if you put regular food in her, give it to her, she'll just spit it out. So again, we are trying to honor resident choice there. And then the next picture shows another one of our delightful gentlemen who turned 95, and he just enjoyed his birthday so much. You can see he has a little dinosaur cap on, balloons and everything. So we are trying to really honor our neighbors by giving them what they would prefer. And we've gone anywhere from chocolate cake, cherry pies, to potato chips and pizza, to nothing at all. So we honor what they would like. Okay, and then something we never knew exactly how to handle when a resident would pass away. And lots of times, previously, the residents didn't know this person passed away for a couple of days, and it was very upsetting to them. And so during this time, we realized, okay, this is something we need to really jump on. And so this was one of the 3 artifacts we decided to go with, I believe, or at least, no, it was something we added in addition. So what we did was we went to our community council and asked them, what do you think we should do when one of your friends passes away? And the consensus was that they thought that a memorial time should be held within a day or 2, with a brief time of song and memories and pictures. You can see there we have a candle with a lighted wreath around it and roses, and a picture collage that we set out for several days. And then we have a time together where residents can share their memories and thoughts about that neighbor who's passed on. Okay, the next one. At the community council that we hold, the neighbors are asked how they would like to celebrate the upcoming holidays that are coming, and they plan them. They say, okay, we would like to do this and this and this. And here's a picture we just put on there of one of our residents with our New Year's celebration, and you can see they all had outfits on and lots of fun. So this is one thing we've started doing, letting them choose how they would like to celebrate that holiday. Okay, another one of our original artifacts was to provide opportunities for the residents to find purpose and enjoyment in volunteering. And so we tried to, as much as we could think, okay, what are these things that you guys would like to do that would give you purpose? And here's a gentleman who enjoys setting up for games. He does it almost every activity we have, and he'll put pennies in cups and bingo chips and whatever. Some help with the decorating each month. You can see there on the left, this lady, she helps put our large activity to get calendar together each month that we have outside our dining room. It's pretty unique, I think, and it's really neat. And it's something that she really looks forward to putting together each month. The lady in yellow, she takes great pride in making sure that all of our games are disinfected after each activity. And it's amazing if we happen to try to start putting things away, she stops us because that is her job. She loves to do it. And then we also had a lady who cared for our living plants. I think we have a picture of our planters and the living plants that whoops, they're upside down. But other than that,
I don't know what happened.
Our plants all grow from the ceiling. So anyway, so that was other ways.
Oh no.
As far as home environment, we don't have our after picture. What happened?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
wow. I wish you guys could see it because the after picture was amazing. If you look, you'll see on the left-hand side, our walls, we did have semi-private rooms, but the walls only went 3/4 of the way up the wall. The floors you can see are your institutional size kinds of floors. Well, what we did was we renovated and we took those walls all the way to the ceiling. The residents get to choose a color, what color they want their walls to be in there. Actually, the rooms are gorgeous. We put like wood-like flooring down and new cabinets so that now the home environment is, I wish you could see it.
Oh,
it's
my apologies.
awesome.
If we can pull it up by the end of the show, guys, I will, okay?
All righty. All right. So then another thing that was easy to fix was mailboxes outside of each room. We continued with the farmhouse theme and they can decorate them however they want. We wanted something that was kind of see-through so they could tell when they had mail so that they would remember to check it. And they, like I say, they can decorate it however they like. All right, we had our very first family council in January, and I really believe the family members enjoyed that opportunity to share their thoughts and their appreciation. During that family council, I wish I had thought to take pictures. I forgot. But we went over areas such as what is going well and what can we do better and how can we best serve you and your loved ones. We had a brief time of education and refreshments, and I think they really, really enjoyed that time together. And we plan to do it again here in a couple months, and hopefully we'll have some cookouts with families, but just gleaning, having them more involved in decisions of how we can best serve them and their loved ones. Okay, we've been really working on our language. We did several things just to make it fun. I think Carmen shared previously the pen game with a lot of you. We put these little decorated pens, and by the way, one of our residents volunteered to put those pens together, and everybody had a pin on their name tag, and every time you said a word that was institutional and you caught somebody, you lost your pin. And then at the end of the month, whoever had the most pins, they got a special prize. So just put a fun spin on learning the correct language that we should be using. And another way we did it was get the word out jars. We wanted to try something a little different where we had this jar out there, and we wanted to make it positive as well. So if somebody said discharge, you could grab a piece of paper and you wrote down discharge, and instead I should say move out and put my name on it, and then you put it in the bucket. And we pulled that out and got a gift card for whoever was pulled out. So it was just a fun spin on trying to make sure that our language is, and training our team members to use home language, not institutional. Okay, we feel like Yeah, we have some artifacts, different things. We didn't see a whole lot of change, but I do believe COVID had a whole lot to do with that. I do believe that the atmosphere has improved greatly, and we feel like we've made a lot of good progress and looking forward to implementing even more artifacts in the year to come. I appreciate you, Carmen, all that you've taught us, and we're very, very grateful.
Thank you. And you actually saw some turnover numbers go down too.
Yes, which is surprising with our CNAs. Tori, our administrators here, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, with this specific screen, yes, we did see a slight decrease. And as Pam mentioned, I think a lot of that, it's still really impressive, especially with our current circumstances, with mandates and everything like that, and a lot of people leaving the long-term care organizations. So we're lucky, and I just want to say thank you to Pam. She's put a lot of hard work into this, and it's been amazing, and we've heard a lot of great things from our neighbors here about it. They love the new dining room. They love that the farmhouse theme. They really like. I've heard a lot of positive about the mailboxes and the celebrations, and so we are hearing it from the neighbors as well, that they are enjoying it. So a big thank you to Carmen and also to Pam for implementing all of these things.
Yeah, thank you, Tori. Thank you, Pam. I wish I could say, let's ask questions now, but we better roll through everyone. And then hopefully everyone, we can ask each other more questions. Is it okay, Pam, do you want to read that quote from Dee, or?
Sure, I can read it. Culture change has really made this home much nicer for both team members and residents. For team members, they welcome culture change. They like it. They like home environment versus institutional environment. For residents and team members, having it look like a home and more flexibility in dining has created a lot of positive. And that was one of our RNs, Dee Larson.
That's a nice summary as well. Well, thank you all at Star Valley, truly. And I'm going to ask if Courtney Price is here. I am not sure. Courtney, are you here yet? If not, we'll come back to her. Everyone has different things happening, don't they? And so I'd like to ask if Jessie Wilcox, may I introduce you, Jessie? And can you share your story? Thank you so much for South Lincoln being involved in this project.
Hey guys, this has been actually a very fun project, and we have enjoyed doing this not only as the staff, but also with all of our neighbors and with the neighbors' families. We've had a lot of support and input, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'm a slacker. Mine is nowhere as nice as Star Valley's because, yeah, Jessie just didn't have the time to do that. But couple of things that we really wanted to focus on and change. One of them was welcoming new neighbors when they move in, and then doing the individual birthdays. So in the past, when we've had a new neighbor move in, we didn't do a whole lot for them. So we actually set it up so that now we've been going to their home to visit with them and their family before they even move in. We've changed a bunch of our admission paperwork so that it is more specific, asking questions like, how do you celebrate your birthday? Not like with just a birthday cake. So everybody has certain things that they do. How do you like to celebrate holidays? Different things like that. What are some of your favorite things? And then after we do that, then we can put this little welcome basket together for them. So some of them, they love Diet Coke and chocolate. We've had a couple of them who are very religious. So we bought them a picture along with some goodies. So it just kind of depends, and it's individualized for each one of them based off of what they like and don't like. And then while we're at home interviewing them and visiting with them and their families, we also ask them, are you comfortable in a big group being welcome into the facility, into the nursing center? Or would you rather just do one-on-one in your room, to try to feel and see what their comfort level is? So after I think we had 2 new neighbors move in, they were a little bit overwhelmed when we presented them the gift out in the day room with all of the other neighbors present. Kind of overwhelmed them. So we kind of adjusted and tried to change things so it would be more comforting for each one on their individual needs. So it's actually been a lot of fun. Much like Star Valley with the individual birthdays. So in the past, we used to celebrate everybody's birthday. They got a birthday cake for their lunch on the day of their birthday. Well, we changed things up as far as what would you like, things like that. So it's more specific to what kind of cake would you like, what kind of lunch would you like. So some of them will get a little personal hand pizza. Some of them will get something from Arctic Circle. Just different things like that, so that we can make it solely on them and what they enjoy. So, and that's been a lot of fun. So the next one that we have been working really hard is our dining room, the ambiance, the menu. Our goal is to get to where it's more of a buffet kind of thing. So if they want to get up at 10 o'clock in the morning and still come and get something for breakfast, that's totally fine, but we're slow going. But some of the big changes that we made right off the bat was we went from the plastic coffee cups. We went and actually bought a whole bunch of regular coffee cups. A lot of the neighbors wanted to have their coffee out of a real coffee cup instead of a plastic one. So we now have the option. So depending on what they would like to do determines what type of coffee cup they use. We have linen tablecloths. They've been ordered. They just haven't got here yet. So all of the tables will have a linen tablecloth. They will also have in the middle of them, we have the pitchers of water and the glasses and salt and pepper shakers. And then we have a little basket with other condiments. So they hate, our neighbors hate how the food is so bland. I'm sure all of you have heard this. So I had them give me a list of what kind of spices that they wanted. And we went and bought it and we just put it in a basket. So then we can pass it to whoever wants it. So they can add chili powder if they want, or minced garlic, whatever they want. So the other thing that we started doing is for every meal, we've made a point to play music, and it's the music that they like. So it'll be the Beach Boys or classic music, and each of the neighbors that come out and eat, they actually will pick and say, I would like to listen to this today, or things like that. So we worked really hard with that. Another thing that we did is we went to, instead of a once a month resident council, we went to a once a week neighborhood town hall. And so during the neighborhood town halls, we would talk about how things were going, what kind of special meals that they wanted. So like Waffle Wednesday, or they wanted barbecue.
Taco Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday, yes, thank you, Paula. Taco Tuesday, when they wanted to have like hamburgers and hot dogs on the grill, if they wanted, you know, chili days, things like that. So they actually started to pick. So once a week, they would say, this is what we want to do, so we could get it on the schedule, so that they had a little bit more say as far as what they were eating. And then in the neighborhood town halls, we always talk about activities that they want to do, some things that they think would be fun to do, how they want to decorate, complaints. Of course, we talk about the complaints and what their biggest complaints are, and ways to fix the complaints, things like that. So we actually applied for, during the neighborhood town halls, we had some conversations, and a lot of the neighbors wanted to have their own laundry room, so that they had the option to do laundry here if they wanted to, versus their family taking it home, or it just going downstairs to our laundry department. So we actually did a lot of work, put in some grants, so that we could try to get them a laundry room. So it's not going to be out in the middle of everywhere so that they can see. It will be behind a closed door. But that's something that we were working towards with that. Another thing was the mailboxes that we're working towards is doing the mailboxes. And then all of our neighbors wanted to switch the call lights. So instead of it being, the call light, it was actually a porch light. So when they hit their call button, the porch light came on. And then when we addressed it, turned it off, the porch light went off. So those are things that we're still in the process of. We have been donated a washer and dryer, brand new washer and dryer. It's just a matter of getting it vented and things like that. Let's see what else. Another big thing that we wanted to try doing was getting the families more involved and doing like a family committee council that we met routinely, like once a quarter. Excuse me, so we could start talking about changes that we were making and what the families wanted to see as well. And the families actually had input. So we've only done this, I think Paula, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've only done really 2 meetings. We did one in November and then one in December. And the plan is to do one in March, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. So, but the goal is we've changed a lot of things. So we want to kind of start from scratch with the families as far as showing them what the new the paperwork looks like when somebody moves in and the questions that we're asking and things like that. My goal was to have the family give a lot of input regarding like the policies and things like that so that we were meeting everybody's needs, the neighbors, the families, while ensuring we were compliant with state regulations as well. So it's slow going, but we are definitely, it's been great. The families they seem to really like it. I'll let Paula talk a little bit more about what we have, about the couple meetings we have had.
Do you want me to talk right now?
Yeah, go for it, sis.
So the couple meetings that we've had have been really good. I think Jesse does a great job just asking questions to the families, what we want, and we kind of vote on, as far as like the last one I remember so well is like, what people do we want to be able to come into the nursing home? She is trying to protect the residents there, and yet, she understands that we want our family to be able to go in and see our residents there. So we got to vote on, who we wanted to come into the nursing home and who we didn't want to have come in. And we just decided that like every time we have a meeting, we can talk about it again and change it. Our decision is depending upon how COVID is going or not going or whatever. And yeah, Jesse was just really good and open with everybody and just asked everybody for their opinions and suggestions or whatever, they wanted. And some of the things were just fine, and other things with rules and regulations that we have to follow, it wasn't possible. So but they're really, really good meetings, I think. And I don't know that we had a really big turnout. I think some people zoomed in and I wasn't sure about how many were on that, but the people that were there really cared and wanted to be a part of that meeting. So they were great.
So the other goal is that they will have the families actually help us to make sure with the paperwork that we have when somebody moves in, that they feel like we are getting a very good picture and story of their loved one before they move in, so that we can just kind of hit the ground running, knowing as much as we possibly can to make them feel more like family. So that's kind of where we're at. Our Pinnacle survey. So we do monthly Pinnacle surveys here. And last year, when we started this, our dietary was not very good. They were very, very low. This year, I believe it was in January, they actually had improved and they got awarded an award from Pinnacle Survey because of how much they had improved. So our dietary department has joined in on the culture calls and have been coming out and visiting with the neighbors. And it's actually, it's been really nice. It's far from perfect, but we are making huge leaps and bounds.
Wonderful. I didn't know that last part. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you, Paula, very, very much. Thank you so much for being on the project. It's been so great to work with all of you. Let's see. Yes, Paula is one of Jesse's board members. So it's great to have board support, someone is saying in the chat box. Paula, thank you both again.
Thank you.
See. Now, we have a third home in the project that was able to stay in the project the whole year. So forgive me, I have to ask if Courtney Price is here or not. Oh boy. And everyone bear with me because she actually made a video that I'd like to show. And I'm just wondering if I should have you go first though, Brittany. Would you be willing? I'd like to introduce you to Brittany. I'm sorry I don't have your name there. Brittany Hall. This is our champion leader and activity director, if that's your title, at Life Care Center of Casper. They joined mid-year, everyone. That's really impressive. And to try to honor and thank them, we have given them the go ahead to stay in the project for the next year. So, how do you get someone to join midway? And so that'll be kind of interesting. Their data will reflect a year and a half, God willing, right? So I'll hand it to you, Brittany. Thank you.
Hi, sorry. So we picked a ton of artifacts, lots of smaller ones. The picture that you see is of one of our elder rooms, and it's for a semi-private room. So we're going to replace the call light with a porch light. We just got a new call light system about 2 years ago. So my corporate office wasn't really about moving them to the side of the door, but they are allowing me to do the call light covers with porch lights. Our residents are super excited. Our elders, are super excited about those. These are set up on one room just so that I could kind of test them out and see what everybody liked. It is off center. The rest of them are centered. I don't know why this one isn't, but they're very excited about the call light. They're also really excited about the mailboxes. The two that are in the picture are not the two we're going with. We're actually going to do very similar to what Star Valley's doing with those kind of chicken wire baskets that hang on the wall so that the resident can see in. And they don't have quite the wow, in your face profile. So our corporate decorator, Kimberly, thought those would be better. So that's what I'm going with for that proposal. I have 12 artifacts on my list, but listening to everybody else talk, we actually have quite a few more. In addition, we went ahead with the first one about a welcoming committee for our people, our new neighbors. That is made up of team members, team leaders, and neighbors, community members who would like to help. And we offer them a tour of the building. We bring them their welcome bag. And then we usually try to sit down and have a meal with them or something like that is our goal with that one. We are also encouraging our residents to help in our kitchen. So our nutrition staff have put a list of things together that the elders can help with, and different things like that. So we will have that up and running, as well as helping in other areas as well. They also help fold laundry. They help with activities on so many different levels. Through COVID, we've actually had community members who were taking lunch orders because we didn't have the nutrition staff to go around and take everybody's order in their room. So we've had elders who stepped up and were helping with that. They love to help. They run my ice cream shop some days. It just depends on who's feeling good that day, but they've done a lot of things with that and have really enjoyed it. While we're picking on our nutrition staff, we're also working on making our kitchen available 24 hours a day. The dining room is already open. We're just working on the kitchen portion, kind of having an always available menu so that the community members can go in and order a grilled cheese and a Coke, and somebody will just whip that up for them right then and there. And then for our evening shifts, when our kitchen is closed, rather than trying to train CNAs and nurses how to run the fryer and the oven and the stove and all of that, so they don't blow us up. We are going to bring hot plates in addition to the microwave and coffee maker and toaster that are on each in each kitchenette on the units in the neighborhoods. We're going to introduce a hot plate and then kind of run them through those processes and make sure that everything's temped correctly. But otherwise, they'll be able to cook on the right there for the resident. We're also working on individual memorials. We usually take people to services, but we're really excited to be able to do those here with the residents' chosen religious leader, their family, whoever else would like to participate. We are we used to do called a functional maintenance plan, kind of getting each elder's life story, their interests, all of that, getting really good and deep in there. Our speech therapist on staff does those. And so she's going to start doing those again. And so we'll have those in lots of different places for everybody to look at so that they get to know our newcomers and our people who are already here. The great big project that we're tackling is getting rid of our nurses stations. This is a model of what I am hoping they will look like, kind of. Right now in each neighborhood, we have a great big nurses station, you know, with the counter all the way around, and there's charts on one side, and it's very institutional. So getting rid of those, there's a long table off to the far right. That's actually a cubby in the wall. And I've had a contractor come in and do the quote and all of the workup for this. We'll take out the nurses station, and then they'll be able to work in that little cubby. And they still have their carts with their laptop and everything on them, so they can work off their carts and be down the halls where they can help improve call light time and reduce falls is my big push for our corporate office. This one is not a done deal. I have to propose it to our corporate office in Tennessee. Our president is very, very active in what each building looks like and how everything is set up. And so I don't know if this one's going to go through, but I'm working really hard to get there. We talked about that one. And we're working on mailboxes. Since COVID, we haven't been able to go do any outings. So we're working on Artifact 97 about getting them engaged in things outside of the home and things with the larger community. So hopefully going back to going out to lunch and museums and parades and all of that kind of stuff that we did before. We are also going to start a family council meeting. We're going to start those in May. So we'll meet monthly with our family council. And then kind of right alongside that, we're also starting a culture change task force that I am hoping won't just be my family and elders and team members. It will also be from the other homes in the community. I'm hoping to rope them in and kind of at least get the ball rolling and get them connected with Carmen and kind of help that grow as much as possible that way. We are also working on changing language. We do word of the week. I'm loving Star Valley's. I took pictures of both of your slides so that I can use your jar idea. That one's fantastic. I love it. And we use, the other one that I have written down is we use restaurant style dining here. Every morning we hand out, when we pass the newspaper, we also hand out our daily, and it has our lunch and dinner options for the day. And then we also have the always available menu that they can use. But then when they sit down, they're asked what they would like to drink. The nutrition staff take their order, and then each of their meals is prepared and served to them without the tray and all of that, you know. Mm-hmm. And so we're working to improve that and make that even better. Things like having better options, making it prettier in that room. Like I said, my corporate office is kind of a pain in my booty in that way. So working on making that as nice for them as possible and trying to get them to approve some of the design things we would like to add. But that's where we are.
Woo, look at that, overachievers, right? Isn't it great? Brittany, you're a wonderful leader. And
Thank
wow, even reaching out to your community. I see culture change in your future, my dear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I just have to double check and ask, is anyone here from Wyoming Retirement Center? They said they might be able to and might not. Anybody? I don't really recognize any names, so I'll just let you all know, kind of like Brittany, they entered even later than midway. So this is their list that they're, have started working on. They're very interested in doing it. Snacks readily available. They have a few items chosen that feel the safest. Oh, that word comes up so much, right? But everyone feels comfortable, with what they're offering so far. And that's important. And then they're trying to get CNAs involved in care planning. And as you all know, right now is not the best time for that. So they've had to back off. But because they're interested in it, they're intentionally asking I don't know if it's one or two or three, the CNAs in general, for some input before they go to care conference, which is, if that isn't being done, that certainly is a wonderful thing, right? And then they're also having fun being intentional about other team members being involved with the life of the building. Notice I'm avoiding the word activities, the old word that we all know, activities, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily groups, doesn't necessarily mean they are the typical institutional kind of maybe group activity we think about. I'm trying to remember the young maintenance man is inviting men to do some maintenance things. Isn't that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful? Oh, and also like they had a big showing from their management team interested in, last month, the date 22222, and people dressed as twins and did fun things. Isn't that great? And then they too are moving towards community meetings. And by the way, Barry Barkin, who actually invented them with the people who lived in the nursing home with him, in that home back in 1977, he was our speaker last Tuesday. If you didn't hear it live, it's recorded. Highly recommend it. Also, they are going out of their way to help people get outside and then to actually care plan that. That's pretty easy, everyone, but it's so powerful. I encourage nurses to, nurses in particular, if you just think of nursing, if we could get nurses to also talk about these things that we're all striving for, hey, if Carmen's crabby, did you wake her up? Remember, don't wake her up, right? Getting to restorative sleep, or hey, did you take her outside yet? Have you played her favorite music? There's so many beautiful things, right? Before we ever would turn to medication, perhaps. And then they have also chosen a unique artifact that probably all of you have heard of, the idea of the guardian angel. So it's sort of that, but it goes further. So in the artifacts tool, I got to design it with Karen Schieneman, who is a social worker herself and worked at CMS most of her career, but also in a VA home. And she's really quite adamant about this, where, it's sort of like the guardian angel idea plus. And what we mean, it's almost moved into a care coordinator kind of position, where if you are the troubleshooter, the care coordinator, I don't even love that word, but some sort of a coordinator for one resident, that means you're making sure they are getting to their appointments, believe it or not. You're double checking. You're like a quality assurance friend and person who works at the nursing home. So you see what I mean? It goes beyond visiting once a week, but actually troubleshooting anything that needs to be. The sweater's missing, there's a problem here. I just find it fascinating. So we'll learn more from their journey next time we do this. And now I want to ask if Courtney Price is here by chance. Courtney? And if not, we're going to watch a video here, everybody. And why don't I just try to stop the share and then do another share? I have it ready to go. She actually did a video for all of us. How convenient is this? And now let me just see if I can share it. And you're going to hear from Courtney, even though she's not here. How cool is that? Here we go.
Hey, Kathy. Can I
Hey.
get it tested?
Sure.
We were lucky enough to be one of the first in Wyoming to get to take part in Culture Change. And it was really a good opportunity that we learned a lot. For Granite Rehab, we felt as though there couldn't have been a better time to do Culture Change. It says, first, let's talk about the socially distanced, masked, hand sanitized elephant in the room that made staffing difficulties even harder, added an extra 700 policy changes a week, made full PPE seem normal, and removed all aspects of a home that may have existed in a nursing home. And what an undeniably huge relief Culture Change, Pioneer Network, and Carmen truly are. A big thanks to all, because it really was perfect timing in our world. The approach. So at the beginning of this project, we were in the middle of a COVID outbreak. There's all of these new regulations and visitation, and we can't get our hair cut. Maybe we can. All this stuff was going on. Nobody said it, but there was definitely a little bit of hesitance, so to speak, with, we have so much going on already. How are we going to manage this? It's a great idea, but I don't know. There was definitely a little bit of that. And how are we going to keep up on all the policies, and, just very institutional way of thinking, so to speak. But we got past it. Thank goodness. So the artifacts tool, artifacts 2.0, the first time we did it, our grand totals, so to speak, we had 40% fully implemented, partially implemented was 28, and not a current practice was 32%. Second time around, our grand totals, partially implemented stayed exactly the same at 28%, fully implemented went up to 42, and not a current practice went down to 30%, which overall, I guess that is the direction we were hoping to move in. So 2.0 side by side, it was kind of interesting that the first time we did the artifacts tool to the second time we did the artifacts tool, those two groups of people, we only had 4 that were the same. So that definitely goes into staff turnover and things of that nature as well. But only 4 members remained the second time we did it to partake in it, which I just thought was kind of interesting. The 3 practices that we chose to implement were music and care plan, massage offered by a licensed professional, and meaningful rituals around death. So up first, music and care plan. We developed a music interview, and we assigned them to our ECRs, which is environmental caring rounds. So every room has an ECR, and we completed the music interview either with the resident, or if they were unable to, answer, we completed with family. And the interview included, favorite type of music, favorite band or singer, preference. Some people like to listen on headphones, some people prefer out loud. If there's a certain time of the day they like to listen to music, more so than others. And, if there was any interest in the opportunity to sing in a choir or play an instrument or, anything like that, any sort of music preferences that we could get, we did, and then put those into the care plan. In order to sustain the practice, though, because as Carmen would say, if none of you work there tomorrow, how do we know that it will continue? Which is a good point. So what we did is we actually were able to contact our IT support, and we were able to have it directly, input into our evaluations. So the initial activity evaluation now includes that level of music preference, and it carries over to the care plan. So moving forward, now it will of course be the activity director's responsibility, so to speak. That's the evaluation it's on. And we also learned some other interesting things during our completion of the interviews and catch up, so to speak. We have since started a choir because we had a very big interest in that we maybe would have never even known otherwise. you know, we learned that one resident used to actually play in a band, one used to do dance lessons. There was really just a lot of interesting information that came out of that. And then of those interviews, these are just the graph form, I guess, of, you know, favorite types, favorite artists, which may or may not come in use down the road for scheduling entertainment, things of that nature. And then offer massage by a licensed professional. This one was a little bit harder to get off the ground, honestly. It was hard to find someone in the community who was willing to or had time to, you know, kind of set this up with us. And we did eventually find Lindsay at Meraki Massage, who has been fantastic to work with. The contract end of things are all done now. Those did also take a little bit of time. But we got the contract developed, as well as, you know, like the job description or policy to sustain the practice. And we are actually reviewing and finalizing all of that this Thursday, which is exciting. We also sent out flyers. So we posted flyers, we sent them out to families. We put sign up sheets, and this is just a visual, I guess, of the flyers that we made and put out. And we did have people sign up right away. And the fun part is that it also is for staff. So they're very excited about that as well. Meaningful rituals around death. Admittingly a harder topic to take on. The conclusion that we came to is that in order to have meaningful rituals around death, each occasion has to be approached as independently unique as the person it's regarding. For example, if John Smith passes away, it may be appropriate to put his obituary on the memorial board and give condolences to his family, whereas if Jane Smith dies, there will be her 3 closest bingo friends who will need a celebration of life, maybe a lantern release. So, you know, there isn't really like a one way or, you know, one solution, I guess, for this. There has to be a whole bunch of different ones depending on the person. So we do have the memorial boards established in resident and staff area. In addition to that, we took our end of life care directive and modified it. We used this opportunity to completely redo our approach to death, not just the rituals once it has occurred. Of course, people without an end of life care directive also pass away. But this was a first step in truly implementing and sustaining the practice. The end of life care directive, of course, I'm sure most of you know, but covers things like medications, diet restrictions, but now also included in ours is a section for religious preference, and if so, which denomination/local church, a place to select music to be played in room, you know, if so, what kind, and any other cultural considerations or personal preferences that they want us to know. In order to be efficient at this practice, we had to do something kind of hard and think about what if it was me, what if I was unable to speak, I was on my way out of this life in a nursing home similar to this, what would I want? And then with our knowledge of how nursing homes operate, how can we make it so that they follow through with that? How can we make it, you know, be easily accessible information, or, you know, make sure it happens. So naturally, of course, the end of life care directive, which is required to be signed off on by multiple people and gets carried over to the care plan, seems like a good place to start. So the next one is staffing turnover, but before we get to that, on the meaningful rituals around death, so we have the memorial boards, and for example, some of the things we've done is we had a resident who did the snack cart. She would take it around, she would stock it, you know, pass it out. And it was the Simpkins snack cart, I'm sorry. And she unfortunately passed away. But sort of in her honor, in her memory, they kept it the Simpkins snack cart, and now staff takes it around. But it still has her same sign and all of that on it, which is really special and the family appreciated. We also had a resident whose husband passed away, and he was not a resident here. But so for her, we, you know, of course, got her, you know, we did flowers and got all the stuff in her room, and we got it so that all of her family could come and, you know, just kind of let them accommodated them, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to have a space and, you know, have their celebration of life, so to speak. But moving on now, staffing turnover. So the first time we did the artifacts tool with our staffing turnover, we had 104%, which is phenomenal. And then there's the breakdown, CNA, LPN, RN. Round 2 is 101%, which was actually is still very, very high, but we were expecting it to surpass the first time around. And it didn't, but it is still very high. Which this continues to be an area that, you know, everyone is on board and we are working towards increasing or, you know, making that better, I guess. So we're getting there. And after a year-long project, we are only sorry it's not a 2-year project. Gaining knowledge and understanding of culture change and learning how to spread that knowledge took us almost the entire year. With it being Wyoming's first year to participate, we are trying not to feel too bad about that, but we would love the opportunity to do again and feel as though it would be beneficial, because it really is, for, you know, a lot of residents, families, people in Wyoming, this is somewhat of a new concept, so to speak. It's not really something they've heard about or encountered. So we found that spreading the word was a little bit harder, took a little bit longer. But we definitely have our feet under us and we have very much enjoyed being a part of this.
All right. So everyone, I'd love to ask if you have questions for each other. Here's your chance. And I'll just bring up slides with a few reminders of what's coming up next. Anyone have questions or comments of one another? It's your time to shine. Hey, Pam, would you tell them the fun story about someone did not want anything for their birthday?
Oh yeah, we walked into their room and I said, well, we know you have a special day coming up. And right away, she just kind of bristled and she says, I want the day to be forgotten. I do not want a song. I do not want a gift. I want nothing. And we said, well, you know, we honor your choice. And if that's what you'd like, then we'll honor that. And so, yep, it was kind of the first.
Yeah.
Kind of took us back a little bit.
I think it's worth, you know, highlighting everyone. I happen to be married to a man and his dad was the same. They would tell the waitress, if you sing to us, you will not get a tip. And I think it's good to be reminded that we all really do things different, don't we? So thank you, Pam, for that. And Pam, would you also comment on what is a community council? That might be new language for some people.
Well, it's just another name for resident council. We decided to call it the community council, and it is that time where residents can share what's going good and what they'd like to see changed. And we've been pretty excited because I remember when I first started doing community council, they said, why should we even come? Nothing ever gets changed. Now they're saying, we can tell you care, and we're coming back each month saying, okay, this is what we did about what your concerns were. And so we're really excited about that.
Thank you, Pam. Okay, everyone. So ta-da, we did it. Congratulations to these 5 homes. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Here for you if you need anything. We are taking applications for the next round of nursing homes if you'd like to be in it. It will start in April. And next Tuesday, everyone, is our last of 5 special culture change sessions with Linda Schell, a PhD nurse who's done a lot on restorative sleep. And this time it will start at 5 p.m. Mountain Time because we're trying to make it accessible for anyone that works night shift. So if you know anyone, if you could please invite them, we'd appreciate it. Then our last special session is for administrators and administrative teams next Wednesday, the 30th. And then it's kind of neat that the steering committee for our Wyoming Culture Change Coalition, the meeting is at the very last day of the month. So if any of you want to be on that, let me know. If any of you have some feedback for doing anything different, we'd appreciate.
Oh no, she froze again.
You guys hear me? Can you hear
There
me?
you are.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. 2 big goals. Everyone in a nursing home in Wyoming learns about culture change, and wouldn't it be cool if everybody at some point who lives there is not woken up at least on the institutional schedule? That's kind of a fun big goal. And with that, thanks again, everyone. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I think everybody did a fantastic job, especially given that we did this in the midst of COVID, because holy cow, but way to go, guys. And it's funny that
Yeah.
a lot of us all picked we did a lot of the same things to improve this. So I think that's kind of neat too.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse.
Agreed, Jesse.
Yeah, hadn't thought of that. How about a round of applause, everyone? Woo, way to go. Even during COVID. Pass that on, please, to your teams. Congratulations. Thanks, everyone. We'll let you go.
Thanks, Carmen.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.